Hey, what's up everybody, Nexel here. Today we're playing Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, and we are going to do some discussion on Supernova ++ Melody of Memory Kairi B, as well as be doing our polls today. Now, unfortunately, this Melody of Memory Kairi B is not nearly as good as the original Melody of Memory Kairi, which was Supernova renewed to all metals. This is definitely different and definitely not as good. However, y'all know how I operate. I have to get every single Kairi medal and every single Aqua medal that this game has to offer, so unfortunately, I do have to pull for this medal. But before we go ahead and do our polls, let's go ahead and talk about the banner, we'll talk about the medal, the draw odds, and finally my thoughts and recommendations on whether or not I think you should be pulling for this medal. So first things first, let's go ahead and take a look at the banner. And really, one of the worst things about this medal and these banners is that we now have the VIP and the non-VIP banners. I really don't like this format. It is very punishing to those who do not pay into the game. So this is something that existed a long time ago, and we really just haven't seen it for a long time. But the big difference between the VIP banner and the free-to-play banner is that you are guaranteed the featured medal, the Supernova ++ Melody of Memory Kairi B, within 5 draws only on the VIP banner. In terms of the free-to-play banner, the one that you have access to if you don't buy into the game, you are given this 1 of 3 stopper medals. And just like the previous banners, 1 in 3 does not mean a 33% chance. For 1 out of 3, it means you have a 20% chance of getting Supernova ++ Melody of Memory Kairi B, and then a 40% chance to get the other 2. Now, looking at the other 2, I would say this would be worth it if these other 2 were good, but really this is only good for PvP, and I have never used this Cinderella. It might be good for people that don't have a lot of good medals. Again, these are okay banners for beginners, but all in all, I don't think this free-to-play banner is particularly worth it, because when you spend 15,000 jewels, you want to know what you're getting. Jewels are super important because they literally pay for everything in this game. They pay for medals, they can pay for traits if you're VIP, they pay for avatar boards, so jewels can get you a lot of different things. So when you spend 15,000 of them, you want to know what you're getting by the end of it. So unfortunately, with these 1 in 3s, you're not really knowing what you get if you spend all those jewels, and unfortunately, the other 2 don't seem nearly as good as the featured medal. I could make a case for the Snow White being okay, but when you have things like the Defense Breaker deal out, I don't think that Snow White is nearly as good, especially if you have to spend 15,000 jewels in order to get her. So already, when we look at the banners, we're not a fan of this VIP banner. Again, this is really bad for free-to-play players and discourages them from pulling. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the banner. So the rest of the stuff is the same between the 2 banners. So you get 3 Supernova Plus or higher medals. You get 7 Kingdom Hearts 3 medals, which is really good because remember, at minimum, that means every single medal has to be at least 6 draw points or tier 6. And for the Supernova Plus ones, they have to be at minimum tier 8. So at the very least, you're looking at a good chunk of draw points if you have to sell everything because you don't need anything in your pull. Looking at the avatar coins or the VIP coins, you get 20 with every single pull. Now, I don't really care about the VIP coins at this moment, mainly because when it comes to traits, it's very easy to obtain them nowadays without needing to actually buy into trait packs. So if we look into the Moogle shop right now, especially, again, if you're VIP, this game is in high favoritism of you right now. If you're VIP, you can just buy the best damaging traits for, on regular weeks, 1,000 jewels, on a special week, 500 jewels like right now, and on a super special week like next week, 100 jewels a piece. So what that means is instead of using your VIP coins on the trait medals, you can just wait till the end of the month, because they do this at least once a month, and then if you get VIP, you just spend 500 jewels and then perfectly trait a medal. So there's no risk involved, there's no rolling, none of that stuff. You could just spend 500 jewels and you're done. And 500 jewels is not very hard to obtain. By logging in, you get at minimum 400 jewels. So to just spend 1 day's worth of jewels to perfectly trade a medal and have no risk involved is really good and really busted for VIP players. Now, I know that they had the Raimi banner not too long ago, but the trade-off for that is that it was 300 VIP coins. What that means is that in terms of the current banners, you would need to pull 15 times in order to get the 300 VIP coins needed. And unless you're a super whale and you have some sort of infinite source of jewels, or you just have a bunch stacked up, it's very, very difficult to squeeze in 15 total pulls in a month. I believe every single month, they only really give you enough jewels to, I believe, do a 10 pull, if not a little bit more. I haven't done the math in quite a bit, but the fact that you can pull that much means you must be spending some amount of money, or you're a super hardcore player and you've done every single event, every single login. So these VIP coins over the course of time have lost their value just because it's really not a smart idea on what to spend them on. Really, you'd spend them on traits if you need them. But other than that, if you could afford VIP, or even if you just have the 25 million money, you could just buy these right away. No risk involved, no gambling. It's all just very straightforward, and that's what we like to see. We like to know what we're getting, essentially, is the name of the game. And then it's 3 magic gems with every single pull. Really, I think this needs to be updated. I think that every 5 pull should have like a sun gem or a moon gem involved, because that is going to be the limiting factor for people to level their keyblades up to level 35 and beyond that. So I think this needs an update because there's so many different ways to get magic and speed and power gems at this point. Alright, so that's the banner. Let's go ahead and talk about the medal real quick. So, unfortunately, like I said earlier, even though this medal looks super sweet with the revamped artwork and the modeling, unfortunately, it's not nearly as good as the original Melody of Memory Kairi. So this is Supernova Plus Melody of Memory Kairi B. Now we have a maximum strength of about 53,000, which is our new standard. So we have bumped up from quite a bit over the past 2 months. So without chips, it's going to be 48,000, which is still really respectable. In terms of the special attacks, it hits all targets, and this is where I get very confused as to why they make 2-turn buffers like this. So it is a special attack that gives you buffs and debuffs for 2 turns, across 2 different turns. Remember that this affects stacks. So if you cast it on 1 turn, you're at plus 7,000, and then if you cast it on the 2nd turn, because that 7,000 carried over from the last turn, you're at plus 14,000. Now, normally, this would be a good thing. If we were looking about like a year or 2 ago, 2-turn buffers are absolutely amazing because of how they stacked. But nowadays, 2-turn buffers aren't nearly as good, mainly because this strength stack that they offer is not much higher than what we already have at the moment. So if we go ahead and take a look at one of our more recent medals here, so let's take a look at Sephiroth, just an example. Sephiroth, not released too long ago, really just a few months ago. So if we take a look at Sephiroth, inherently, for 1 turn, he gives you plus 12,000. Now, if we flash back to the Melody of Memory Kairi B, it gives you plus 7,000 for 1 turn, and then on that 2nd turn, it gets you up to 14,000. The reason this isn't nearly as good as it was a few years ago is because 14,000 versus 12,000 is not too much of a difference. Before, it would be the difference between like 3,000 and 5,000, and that was a big deal back in the day, because percent-wise, you got more damage out of it. You got more strength out of it. Now, since the numbers are so much higher, strength-wise, you're not nearly getting as much percent as you were before. So, unfortunately, 2-turn buffers, unless they make it something like Metal Strength plus 8,000 or Metal Strength plus 9,000, where it's significantly more than the 1-turn buffers, 2-turn buffers don't really count for much more than a regular 1-turn buffer. And there's a lot of scenarios where you care about 1-turn buffing more than you do about 2-turn buffing. Looking at the rest of it though, Metal Strength is really good because it applies to all metals, so it doesn't matter if they're upright, speed, magic, reverse, it will give buffs to all metals, and we really like that. For the rest of the special attack, it is self-buffing for general, upright, and power speed and magic strength and defense, which is good because that means if you activate this medal early on, it will buff everything down the line as long as it's not reverse. We really like self-buffing. And we really like when one medal can self-buff other medals. That's why medals like Supernova Plus Kingdom Hearts 3 Nominee, I think it might even just be Supernova Kingdom Hearts 3 Nominee, that's why medals like that are so good, because they are great setup medals. So this effect, really great setup medal. The special attack also gives special attack bonus plus 220%, which doesn't really matter for much, because normally we see Supernovas that give us plus 320%, and if you have Strelitzia, plus 330%. And it also gives some other good stuff, which is why Counterpoint, in my opinion, is the best Keyblade to date. So the reason Counterpoint is so good is because there are so many upright magic medals that restore you. that give you your gauges back. So in this case, if you activate Melody of Memory Kairi B, you get +3 gauges, HP max, cures ailment, and count +1. This is stuff that we've seen on a heal buffer, and that's really good utility because it sets you up. Anything that sets you up is a great medal to have. However, that gauge +3 is offset. It's offset by the fact that the medal costs 3 gauges to activate. So unless you have some sort of attack boost max SP gauge reduction skill, you're going to consume 3 gauges and then gain 3 gauges back. If you have attack boost max SP gauge 0, you will spend no gauges and get 3 gauges back. So that's when it becomes beneficial to have that gauge +3, is if you have an attack boost max and an SP gauge reduction skill. However, because it's such a small gauge increase, gauge +3 really won't get you too far. Even gauge +6 won't really get you too far. So I don't consider this medal to be a heal buffer, a true heal buffer anyways. It will give you some buffs, it will do some healing, but unfortunately not nearly as good as a medal that costs 0 gauges and gives you 5 gauges back instantly. So unfortunately it is sort of a heal buffer, but not really a good heal buffer, but it is upright magic. And again, like I said earlier, one of the best things about upright magic is that all the healing can be spread across multiple medals. So Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Kairi, as well as Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Xion, as well as Strelitzia, are all medals who aren't perfect heal buffers, but they do heal you and they do give you buffs. So across multiple medals, you're getting all the healing you need, all the status ailment curing you need, all the count plus that you need, all the HP healing that you need. So that's why Counterpoint is so strong, because you can just remove the heal buffer entirely and have all your restorative effects across multiple medals. So upright magic is really good, but unfortunately when it comes to Melody of Memory Kairi B, it's nothing special, just because we've seen it so many times on other upright magic medals. Looking at the Supernova attack for 3 turns, and this is the sweet spot for Supernova attacks, 3 turn buffing, magic medal strength, plus 6,500. Now, unfortunately, this isn't very good because it's only magic medals, meaning that speed medals or power medals won't get any benefit from this whatsoever. However, if we look at the rest of it, unfortunately, a very subpar Supernova, only doing self-buffing for general upright and magic strength, as opposed to previous medals that we've seen like Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Xion, where it would give self-buffing for general, upright, power speed, and magic strength. So unfortunately, we've taken a step down from what exists already in the game through Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Xion. Another good thing about the Supernova effect, even though it's good, it doesn't really compensate for the whole thing, is that it gives count +5 and gauge +5. Again, we have better Supernova attacks out right now, so unfortunately this falls a little bit flat in terms of introducing anything new. So the medal itself is just okay, because we've seen all these mechanics before and they're nothing really special. So in terms of if I think you should pull for this, I really don't recommend it. I am only pulling because it's a Kairi medal, but otherwise I would totally not be pulling for this medal. So that's my recommendation on Melody of Memory Kairi B. Save your jewels. A lot of people are going to be saying that nowadays simply because Anniversary for Global is in April and they tend to drop some super sweet stuff. Honestly, in terms of banners, I would say even just risk one of these banners if you just feel like doing a few rolls here and there. Mainly because I would honestly recommend this one because it's the better of the two in my opinion. But the reason I'd recommend these over the Melody of Memory Kairi B is simply because you get more tier 10s, they're guaranteed, and you know exactly what you're getting in terms of effects at the very least. So if you pull from this, you know you're getting good PvE, PvP utility. If you're pulling from this, you know that you're getting good PvE or good raid utility. So you know what you're getting from these, and they're all tier 10, so no matter what, well, actually the Ignoring Attribute medal does include Ultimate Form Sora, if I remember correctly. But for the most part, you're guaranteeing yourself a bunch of tier 9s, if not all tier 10s, and that's really good, mainly because if you have to sell everything, you're getting more draw points on average. So I'm a big fan of these two, especially since for 600 jewels, you get 3 medals, and then if you spend 3,000 jewels, so if you pull 5 times, you end up with 15 medals, as opposed to the standard 10. So I kind of like these deals mainly because your chances of getting something good are higher, and you don't have to spend a crazy ton of jewels. 600 jewels is very, very easy to obtain between daily logins, weeklies, and doing your dailies. So I like these two. I think they're really good. If you're a new player, I would definitely be using these more than either the Melody of Memory Riku or the Melody of Memory Kairi B banners that are out right now. But with that being said, let's go ahead. Let's do our pulls for Melody of Memory Kairi B, because we did buy VIP this week specifically so that we can guarantee ourselves a Melody of Memory Kairi B. So let's see, at the very least, if we can at least get the medal early. That would be super sweet because, again, I don't recommend pulling for this medal. It's just an okay medal. I'd really have more copies of Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Kairi or Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Xion. All right, first pull. Ooh, we got the Aqua, which is really sweet. Unfortunately, I actually need more copies of Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Kairi. I believe this is like our 5th Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Aqua. So, a good pull, a decent pull, but nothing particularly crazy. Alright, let's see if we can get... I'm willing to say we'll get her on the 3rd pull at the earliest. I don't think the draw odds are super good, but we're willing to hope. We're always willing to hope we can get the featured medal early. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oof, unfortunately nothing good in this pull. This is all just going to be draw points. But again, it's nice because you are getting a solid number of draw points per pull. Alright, pull number 3. Let's see if we've got magic number 3 giving us some magic right here. Specifically some upright magic in the form of Supernova Plus Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory Kairi B. Lots of upright, lots of tier 10s. Unfortunately, well, 2 tier 10s, but unfortunately they ended up somehow magically being Gula. Again, all just going to be draw points, which is good because draw points guarantees you a boosted copy of a tier 9 or a tier 10. And remember that that banner is being updated in early February. So save your draw points till then, because then you can get things like Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Kairi, Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora, and it's getting a huge boost. All right, let's take a look what we got here. Pull number 4. Boy, how many Gulas did we get? I feel like we got so many Gulas. This one's even boosted. We did get an Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Lee/Axel, which is pretty good. Very solid medal. But unfortunately, we are looking for the Melody of Memory Kairi B. And it is guaranteed on this pull, so it looks like we had to do all 5. But remember, if you can't mercy the medal, don't pull for it. That is why that free-to-play banner is so bad, because you can't guarantee anything except 1 of 3 medals after 5 pulls. All right, here's our Kairi. There she is. Very, very cool. And then the rest of the stuff becomes draw points. So here is our Melody of Memory Kairi B. And another reason I waited till the end of the week to pull is because, as you saw, they released the Spirit Training campaign. And my best advice in this game that I can ever give out is wait until the very last moment to do any sort of jewel spending, because you don't know what's coming out. If I pulled earlier in the week, I wouldn't have unlocked that 3rd training slot. So just keep that in mind. It's always good to wait as long as possible. In this case, I waited till 3 days before the end of VIP. That way I have 3 training slots unlocked. But here it is, Melody Memory Kairi B. A part of me does feel a little bad that we had to do the full 5 pulls, but that is all to be expected. All right, since y'all stuck out with me till the very end, let's go ahead and trait our medals. Let's actually do, I'm feeling kind of spicy, so let's go ahead and do a few pulls from the Ignoring Attribute medal. Ignoring Attribute medal deal, because we could really use this Sora and this Kairi. So let's go ahead. I'm feeling, well, I guess we can only do maximum 2 pulls. So let's take a look what we can get. And arguably, this is going to be better than the 15,000 jewels I just spent right now, based on what we get. All right, first pull. Do we get a Kairi or a Sora? Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness. Well, we can stop here, I guess. Or we can keep going. Let's go one more. That was way too uncanny. All right, can we get another Sora and another Kairi? See, for 600 jewels, I feel like I got a better deal than I did out of the 15,000 jewels I just spent. That's why I think these deals are so good, these 600 ones. All right, we got another Sora. We got another Sora, and we are super happy about that. Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora, one of the best medals in the game as of right now. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's actually trait our Kairi medal. So Kairi B, the Melody Memory Kairi B, as well as the Illustrated Kairi medals that, or Illustrated 1 Kairi medal that we just got. This is an amazing raid medal, so we will go ahead and trait the Kairi. We'll trait the Kairi B, and then we will also trait 1 copy of Illustrated Sora. It's funny thinking about how a few months ago, getting these medals was like, you were broken. You were broken if you got them. But now it's just like, hey, now you can get like 8 of them. All in the same pull. All right, let's see what we get. So again, the Spirit Training campaign is active. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching my Kingdom Hearts Union Cross primer video on that because there's a lot of good info there. All right, unfortunately, Strength plus 200, not nearly as good as the other traits, but let's take a look at what we get for our Kairi. If we can get damage and raids 100, that'd be broken. Ooh, Aerial 70, not what we're looking for. All right, let's take a look at what we get for the Sora. EA 120 is what we want on this Sora. Boom. Strength plus 500. Oh no. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of the really busted traits. So let's run it back. Let's run it back and let's give it another go. Alright, so let's grab Sora. Actually, we might as well trait the other one since it has no traits on it. And then let's grab the Kairi medals again. So I don't know how often I'm really going to be using that Kairi medal, which is another reason why I didn't think it was a good idea to pull for it for most players. But that's just how I am. It's just a part of our being. It defines who we are, and that's why we had to do it. All right, let's see what we can get with these rolls here. So for this, we're looking for EA 120 would be sweet. Ground minus 70, we'll take that over Strength plus 200. Let's see what we get for the other ones. So we're looking for Raid 100% on this one. That would be the most busted. Strength plus 2,000. Unfortunately, not what we're looking for, but it is really good. So we'll go ahead and take that Strength plus 2,000. And let's see what we can hit on the Sora here. EA 120, again, would be the best trait for this. Strength plus 400. All right. Not super busted rolls. Let's give it one more go since I do have 3 more days where this is active. And we will go from there. So I believe the Kairi got bumped up because I got Strength plus 2,000. There it is. And let's put the... You know what? Let's save our Melody of Memory Kairi B for the end. And let's grab that illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora. So that one has Strength plus 500. This one has Strength plus 400. We will replace the 400 one. All right, let's see what we get. Final rolls. See if we can hit a 120 on any of them, really. So if we could hit EA 120, that would be busted. Is it busted? Nope. We just roll another 400. Feels bad. All right, we'll skip this. What we want on Kairi is damage and raids. Damage and raids 100% would be beautiful. Nope. Gauges plus 3. Ooh, boy. Our luck is just not here today. All right, let's see if on the last one we could hit EA 120%. So on the last one, we get... Yes! All right. EA 120% power, the most busted trait in the entire game, giving you an extra attack that actually does more damage than the first one. Super sweet stuff. So that was a good way to end this video. Let's go ahead, take one more look at our Melody of Memory Kairi B, and then we are good for the day. All right, here it is, Melody of Memory Kairi B. So thank you all so much for watching. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and I'd be happy to answer when I have the time. If you'd like to join my Discord, get some additional help, I'll try to throw the link in the description if I remember to, and there's a lot of good people there to give advice when I am not available. But that is all for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, until next time, take it easy.